Hello, Jamie back from Inky&Scrappy for our Let's Start Stamping series. I'm gonna switch it up this week and kind of go with, you know, my favorite colors, the blues and the greens, and teals, you know, the boy tones, I guess. I'm gonna bring in Whimsy stamps, robots stamp set. I'm all about steampunk. I love steampunk things, and so these are cutesy steampunk things, and I'm all for it. I do have like a bunch of embossing folders, stencils, all of the things that would have steampunk things, and so I would definitely say if wasn't doing a simple card, I would be pulling in a lot of those things to do a lot more with this one than I'm going to do with it. They might end up making an appearance on my sped up version fairly soon, or maybe a live, because I have a bunch of ideas for this one. I might bring in the Such a Tool stamp set. We've talked about this one. This is the one that I created the image for. It's just got really good sayings that would go with robots, and so I did a bunch of cards for Valentine's Day with the two combined, and I love how they turned out. But so if I bring in a sentiment, I might bring in one for there. The other thing I would think about using is maybe the little bolt on this one, or the nuts, just because it would work well with this one. And this one doesn't have, it has the screwdriver and the wrench, but it doesn't have a bolt or a nut. Like, you lost a screw, so that was kind of where I was like, oh, the screw would be kind of cute as a fun little add-on piece, but you can always embellish, you know, that way too. So I'm gonna start by showing you where I'm going with this one, kind of, sort of. I have my markers pulled. These are all from the Ohuhu Oahu, I think I said that right, Ohuhu Oahu fine point ones in the 60 set. So these should all be in the 60 set. So if if you've been looking for alcohol markers, I've switched from Copics to Ohuhus, and I love my Ohuhus. So that being said, I have my color choices kind of picked out for that one. I have the green. I kind of did this one as my color guide. So that darker blue, that tealy color, and then the limey green color. We'll figure that one out. I picked out my papers already. See, I'm on top of it today. I feel a little bit more prepared. I'm bringing in the Echo Park Paper Company 6x6 paper pad. Imagine that. I'm just going to bring in this one from that, and then of course that's where I picked my paper colors from. I'm also probably going to go with one of these sketches. I'm kind of leaning towards this one. Now when you look at a sketch, anything that's like that big square where your focal image is supposed to be, it doesn't have to be a square. I'm planning on cutting that one out and still putting it kind of here. I might erase that line, we'll see. And then these little things on the side don't actually have to be pieces of paper. They can definitely be that screwdriver and the wrench, those types of things. And that's why I said I might want to bring in a bolt, just so I can get an odd number there. I kind of like the option that the bolt kind of brings in. We'll see, and I'll get there when I get there. But yeah, any of these really kind of would work, and then just flipping them or making them work with your image. So it'll probably be a vertical card today, but that is the sketch I'm probably going off of today. I mean, you know, I haven't made it yet, so if you know me, I don't always go as planned. I'm also going to be stamping on some Bristol Smooth cardstock. I had it out somewhere. Oh look, Hot Mess Express has made it back in the building, y'all. I totally just had it in my hand 2 seconds ago. Alright, well, you know, good thing I have more Bristol Smooth cardstock. It had like a... Oh, here it is. It fell off. Okay, found it. It was hanging out next to me. So I'm just bringing in a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I will stamp my images on there. So if you haven't checked out Whimsy Stamp yet, I do have an affiliate coupon code. So if it's your first time using said coupon code, it will work. So it's a 10% off your cart with the coupon code Inky&Scrappy, all spelled out. So feel free to use that one. Otherwise, my affiliate, all the affiliate link stuff will be down below if you are interested. But I love me some Whimsy. But I have a bunch of stuff in my cart. I grounded myself from buying anything new in January. I know we're in February, but I'm going to try to hold out as long as possible. Do I need more things? No. Does that really matter to my I want cute things. I think we buy things because we aren't creating, or we are creating and then we have ideas and then we want to do things, and yeah, I have that problem frequently. So I'm going to stamp out just a couple of those. I don't know if I'm going to use them, but I have them colored and ready if I so choose to use them. I didn't bring in any grays. I might end up bringing in some cool grays. I think the only one that is in that 60 set is the cool gray 082, and I think it's the BG 42. So maybe I'll bring in those two to kind of give me that gray that I'll probably need on a couple of things. I was kind of going to try to do it with my blue grays today. Okay, I'm stamping with Hero Arts Intense Black ink. Hot take, I started a new one. I weighed it. It's 39 grams new. I have not been overly impressed with the juiciness of this one. It's like it needs a re-inking already. But I also weighed my old one, and it weighed the exact same, because I know we talked about doing, you know, the gram thing. I don't know if we talked about it on here, at least in this series, but I know we've talked about it in crafty circles about just weighing them and seeing if that would be an easier way to refill your ink pad, because it works with alcohol markers. And so I was kind of, curious. So they weigh the same. Granted, I don't know what I did there. Granted, I will say that, there are different ink pads. So now that I have it, I did write it on the back so I can reassess when this one actually needs to get refilled. I did start storing them upside down in hopes that, that's how we used to do it. And, then they came out and said, no, you don't need to do that. So I hadn't been doing it. I'm going to try it and see if I get better impressions, or it feels like my pad's juicier on the top. I don't know if it will or not. It's, mind over matter, I guess, at this point. So I'm just going to stamp a couple of extra ones on here. Alrighty, so I have my images. I'll set that off to the side. That one I will pop back in there. I will zoom this in for you. So this is not my initial coloring of this one. I have gotten to color this one a few times now. I maybe have a video coming up as soon as I get it edited to kind of show how I've been coloring this one, or, what I've been doing with this one. So if you like this set, stay tuned for a sped up version of some cards with this one. So I'm going to bring in these are going to be my lime greens, so G483 and G289, so grass green and yellow green. And then for my tealy colors, I'm bringing light green, mint green light, sorry, and mint green, so 471 and G473. Those ones I know for sure which ones. Technically, light mint green should be light, right? Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure. Sometimes the color names don't go with what's what. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to kind of play a little bit here with my colors. Of course, I like to do my darks first, or my darker tone first, and then I do my second layer in that lighter one. Don't feel you need to do 2 marker tones. You could definitely do 1 and then just go over it a second time. I'm going to bring in 2 today just because I want a little bit more color variation and work on those blending of all the things. Oh, I didn't bring, well, I guess this mouth is going to be gray today. Okay, grass green. So I'm going to bring in, I kind of do every other on this one. These are like teeny tiny, so I could probably just go with the one and not really worry about it. But the bigger areas here, I'm going to kind of try to do. Make it look like that round, the roundness is there. And let's see. I'll try to put all my, well, okay, I shouldn't say all my shadows because I did them on the opposite side on the other one. So, you know, I did that one up there backwards. It's all good. I don't think it's really going to matter. Of course, if you're struggling with blending, Bristol Smooth's okay. It's going to give you an alright blend. To me, Express It Cardstock is always going to give you a better blend with whatever alcohol marker you're using. So if you have issues with blending, try some Express It Cardstock. I know that I think it was, when we looked in January, it was like on back order until sometime this month. So if it's something you're looking for, just, you know, keep an eye out for it. Let's go with the darker one first. Blue, blue. Just going in with my next color here. I'll do this one on the opposite side to maybe match. I guess it really doesn't matter because it's underneath. It's probably not gonna. The other thing is working in smaller areas. So if you're struggling with blending, it's gonna blend better if your marker is still wet. So keep that in mind. I move pretty fast, so I'm okay with doing the little areas like this all at once and then coming in. And especially if you're only using one color blend, I like to let that color dry before I come in with the second one to give that layer time to dry, and then it won't blend. I mean, it'll blend, but it's not going to blend as strongly. I hope that makes sense. But that gives you that little bit of color variation. I think I want to go with a little bit of teal up here. I think we'll do that one on the handle here. And then I think I want to darken that one just a little bit more. Don't be afraid to use a second or a third layer. You're going to get a lot better color variation there if you're using more than one layer, or if your blend's not the greatest, try going back in again with a second layer of color. So you go over everything, you color everything one more time, and it's going to give you a lot better saturation of color, a lot better blending, especially if you're new. So don't feel like one and done is the way to go. I'm not overly picky on my coloring. As long as it looks all right, I'm good to roll. I don't overthink it a whole lot. You can also do, a lot of people, if you watch some coloring, I don't watch a lot of coloring, but I know Jordy's Cards, she has a Jordy Colors channel, and she does some amazing work with like a black color pencil for doing some shadowing and shading and stuff. And so if that's up your alley, I would definitely check that one out. So for my dark blue, so this is like, I'm gonna kind of go and do my blue gray 170, and then I'm gonna come in with Persian blue, which is B463, and then I'm coming back in with my blue gray, which is MG069, and I'm gonna kind of get a darker blue look using this one as my lighter one, and I'm kind of gonna blend them on the page. I hope that makes sense. And then I did bring in the GG, which is Green Gray 030. I'll probably add that one in for some of my lighter tones, just using the lighter two shades, the Blue Gray 069 and then the Green Gray 030. So I kind of like to just do the outside of this one. I kind of want to, I mean, he's boxy, right? So he's not necessarily round, but it kind of looks like it might be a little bit round to me. So I'm going to kind of pull in a little bit. And this one's fairly dark. Don't feel you need to go as dark as I'm going on this one. And this one I'm not going to work in as big a sections. This area is bigger, so it's going to dry quicker, and I really don't want it to dry too much that I can't get a blend at all, especially since I'm coming in with the blue, and I kind of want to get that blue to kind of blend in with the rest of my images here. The rest of my, I don't know, coloring, I guess. I'm going to come in with that lighter one. And this one's just kind of a really dark smoky blue color. I kind of like the blend. So with my last one here, I'm going to try to go over that whole area, and that'll help kind of lighten the really dark stuff. It's going to help kind of bring in that blue to more of that gray tone. To clean up the eyes a little bit, but so I hope that makes sense. Let me grab my colorless blender. I don't have my other one, I have this one. So I'm just going to come in here and kind of push out a little bit of blue that I kind of got into that eyeball. A white jelly roll marker will also cover that fairly well. So if I can't get it good enough, I'll come in with that other color. So the colorless blender really isn't an eraser, but it's an ink pusher. So it kind of pushes it deeper into the paper, so it's not going to be as dark on top. I hope that makes sense. And let's see, I'm going to go in with this one. I'm going to go darker on that little piece that's on the bottom here. And kind of with this one too, I'm just going to kind of bring in the lighter shade in the middle. Kind of like on the top, but maybe it's a smaller area. So I'm okay with it being a little bit darker. And this one's really going to bring in that blue color. And I think once you put a little bit more blue on it, you're going to get, it's going to look bluer overall. And I'm just going to bring this one in and kind of blend that a little bit. I don't go all the way to the outside on this one. I want that to have a little bit more character in it. You could definitely go with a second layer if you want to get it a little bit better of a blend. And so for the little claws, trying to figure where I think it's maybe going to be the lightest and where it's maybe going to be the darkest. Kind of how light hits metal, I guess. I don't know. coming in with that lighter tone. Just coloring in the whole thing one more time. That should help it blend and look a little bit more seamless. Do I want to make that one teal colored instead? I think so. And then I just have the bottom part here. I'm going to go really dark on. I feel like this one would be like in shadow. Kind of like this is where his feet are going to sit. And then just a little bit there. Come in with the blue one. So how is, we're finally out of January, the month that lasts forever. I don't know, I feel like it's still January. maybe by next week I'll feel like it's February. We've just been uber busy farm-wise, you know, like lots of fresh cows, so lots of baby calves, lots of stuff going on. I don't think we ever, you know, with animal agriculture, I don't think you ever really get a break. And we breed cows year round, so we have calves year round. So therefore, you know, we don't get out of, you know, any of that type of work. All right, so let's see. I have those to do yet. I think I was going to bring in the gray for that one and the mouth yet. So I'm going to bring in, which one do I want to do? I think I'm going to do the blue gray 069 just on kind of his wiggle line here, and then I'm going to bring in that green gray on this one and just kind of go over that one for a little bit of color variation. And you can definitely go with the second layer towards the outside here to give you a little bit of that rounded shape. So don't be afraid to go back in and add your highlight afterwards, especially if you're only using one. Now for this one I kind of want to add a little bit on to those, but I don't really want to do this dark of a color. So I'm just going to tip to tip this one just a little bit, like a 1-ish second tip, not even probably. And I'm going to start with where I want my darkest little marks to be, and then once it's kind of out of my brush a little bit more, I can come in and I'm just going to kind of dot on this one, kind of make it look like it's steaming. And then before I'm done, I'm just going to kind of bring it into the eyes to give me, whoops, a little bit. I don't know why that one picked up color there. Weird. Should be dry. Or I just ended up, I probably twisted my brush a little bit. Oh well, he's got some gray eyeball going on. It's also, the colorless blender's probably going to have a little bit more pickup on your other thing. I don't know. Let's bring in the cool gray and the dark gray for our tools here. Let's go. And I'm going to color in all over that area, and then I'm just going to come back in and kind of try to blend that a little bit more, adding a second layer kind of just right where that really dark area is. So it kind of gets, because these ones are a little on the, can I say they're a little farther apart than I would like? I would probably like one more color in between there, but that 60 set does not have a whole lot of gray in it. That's why I would, you know. But if you just go over it a little bit more, it's going to bleed it out just a little bit more. Plus you're adding a second layer of that lighter gray, which is going to give you kind of the mid-tone that you're looking for there. And then I'll do the same thing on my little bolts here. Keeping that coloring pretty simple on those, just kind of giving it some low lights in some areas. And some highlights. So I ended up having to grab a new mat for my brother's Scan and Cut. I have one here, I've had it forever. I saw that they went down in price, they're only 20 bucks now instead of 35, which is kind of nice for the one I have. But it wasn't so much that I couldn't get it to stick. The back had gotten so eaten up from the feet grabbing it over the years that it wouldn't grab it anymore, or it would like grab part and then it wouldn't grab the other part, which is weird. But I did end up breaking out the new mat. So I will put this one through the Brother Scan and Cut, and then I will be right back. I'll show you what I mean. The other thing is with the new mat, so if you're new to it, it's gonna stick a lot better than it did with my old mat. So I learned that like curving it and peeling is way easier than trying to like pry off my images. I hope that makes sense. Like they're stuck pretty good. Of course, this is the new mat. So you see how this one's all nice and shiny, and you see how the side, it's got a little bit of grooving on there from going in and out. I didn't realize that you could see the cuts so bad on the backside. Anyways, so this one, yeah, this is my old one. You see the sides here, this is what it's like all grooved in. It just wasn't gripping. It wouldn't feed in anymore. At least not straight. It would like feed in funky. So I did end up grabbing the new extra one that I had, and you know, so we're back to not having to tape things down for 5 minutes or so. I don't know how long it'll last. I am trying to be better about covering it so it doesn't get the dust on it, but ultimately I'm sure I'll be back to where I was at before. Okay, so I have my images colored and cut out. Now I didn't go back and hit the little bolts on this one, or the screw heads, so I'm going to just come back with my darker one, but I'm pretty sure that one's like really dark over there. Adding in a little bit of something, say like a glitter metallic pen, is probably going to make them stick out a little bit more. So this one is, I think, silver metallic, but like a stardust one would work as well, just to give, you know, that definition of, you know, the nuts and bolts of things. So I'll set that one off to the side. We're good to roll there. I lost a screw already. Ha 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 ha. Like, I'm waiting for the comments. You had them all to start with? Yeah. No. Alrighty. So I'll set those ones off to the side. Bring in my pattern paper and my other paper. Let's see here. So let me grab that one. Okay. So I have, whoops, I have Bluey. So I think I want to go probably the darkest one. We'll do this one at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 as my card base. And then I think I want to do this one kind of as my base piece here. And this one, I think I can go a little bit smaller than where I was planning on going. So if I keep this one here and do this one, I can probably go, let's see, that one says 4 by 5 1/4. So if I go 5, that's really only going to give me, I can do 5, maybe 5 by 4 3/4. I want to cut some of this off though on the bottom. Let's go 4. Let's go 4 1/2 by, I know I should have decided this earlier, which would be 3 1/4. Oh well, I had a couple of extra cuts there, but that's all right. I'll live. I think I want a matte. Do I want that matte or do I want that matte? I like them both, but I think I want to use this one for my sentiment, maybe. So let's go this one. If I did, my other one is at 4 1/2, so 3 1/4. So let's go, I just want a thinner border. So I'm gonna go with 3 1/2 by 4 3/4 on this one. And that should give me just a soft break, so from the dark to kind of the middle tone. And then the other one, so we can add that one. And then I have my little robot here. And then instead of doing, I don't think I want to do the strip down. I think I'm just going to do a strip under him for the sentiment. And then I'll add in my little sprockety thingies over on the side. So let's do, what sentiment am I going to go with? I mean, I have multiple sentiments to go with, but I think I wanted to use the Sorry You Lost a Screw, because it's the little guy that obviously looks like he's missing a few screws. So I'm just going to go with that Sorry You Lost a Screw. Grab the stamp platform here. I'm going to cheat because I don't want to remove my other stamps. Head. I think that's pretty straight. And then I will come in, I'm going to use the VersaFine Onyx Black for my sentiment. It gives you that nice crisp sentiment. You can definitely use your other black ink for this one and then just maybe stamp it more than once. But that VersaFine Onyx Black is definitely my favorite for sentiments. And I'm just gonna cut this one out today. So I have a little bit, so if I look at it here, my sentiment lines up kind of on the bottom of this plastic piece here. It still has a little bit of a border, but I'm gonna do it that way, and then I'm gonna, well, no, I'm gonna go this way because it's, otherwise it's gonna be, I think we're good there. Here's hoping. So I just kind of eyeball it, hope for the best. I probably could have gone with a little bit stronger border on the top there, but we'll make this work. So this piece is 3 1/4. I kind of want to make it, I don't want to go all the way across, but let's go this way and go to 3 1/4, and then I can cut it down from there. So I'm going to go to 3 1/4, and it actually looks like it's fairly even there, but I think I'm going to bring it down to about 2 3/4 inch wide. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball and make it even. So it's pretty close. We'll call that one good. Set those off to the side, and then I just have my pieces to glue on there for the most part. I'm trying to use up some of my half done glue bottles. this one is like way thicker than what I'm currently used to. So that glitter art glue or barely art glue is definitely thinner. I'm probably gonna overdo the glue because I'm not used to it being that thick. I find that a thinner layer tends to be better. You're not gonna get, like, this one's gonna curl and stuff, which I'm not gonna love, but such is life. Did I go this way with it? Or do I want to go this way with it? This way with it, because then the green is on the top and the bottom. I think I'm going to pop my sentiment up on this one just a little bit. We'll bring in these ones. Peel. And then I'm just gonna try to center this one on the bottom. So towards the bottom, but centered. And then I can kind of tuck in my robot down below there, or I can put him up a little bit. It's kind of up to you. I kind of like both. Like, I like him down here, but I kind of like him up here because he kind of fills in the space. So I'll probably put him in the middle. You could definitely pop him up if you wanted to. I'm going to not pop him up. I'm just going to let him. And then I'll glue him down. You could definitely put him over in the middle, but this way I thought I could kind of come in here and do nice wrench, and could have cut that one down, but that looks good. Oh, decisions. Okay, so I'm doing my 3 down here. I think I'm going to pop this one up so it looks like it's flying towards you. And so it's bigger because it's flying at you, right? You know, when something's coming at your face, it gets bigger as it gets closer, right? Ask me how I know this week. I might have a nice shiner on my nose. Now I have a big old bump on my nose from the scrubber. The cow's kicked. I did not hold on well enough. So it looks like this one's, you know, flying up. I like that. Okay, now for embellishing this one, we've got several options. You know, you can add some kind of like, I personally would probably add some actual screws because I have them in my stash. The other option are like the hardware heads. Those would kind of be cool on there. Those ones are the Tim Holtz Ideology Mechanicals, makes them as well. This one's Finnabar by Prima. They have some, you know, I said I love all things some brads that have the nail heads or screw heads on them. You know, I love all things steampunk, so I tend to have a lot of things steampunk. I also did some, let's see if I can find them. I can't find them at the moment. Those are keys, but just kind of actual nuts from, you know, like the hardware store. You can buy them fairly cheap. It is going to add some weight to your card, so keep that in mind. If you're mailing it, it's going to cost you a little bit more, plus it's going to be bumpy and bulky. But if you're handing somebody it or using it as, like, you know, on a present or in a box, you're fine with adding those things. I can't find them right now, so I won't add those. But, like, you know, that size, I have a bunch of them somewhere. They're in the drawer. It's just a hot mess. The other thing is you can do some googly eyes on the eyeballs if you really want to. I did some bigger ones. I just ended up coloring in kind of the eyeball to match where it was gonna hang out or not fully cover, so it kind of hit it. Let's see, any other tips and or tricks for you on this one? I'm gonna bring in this is Distress Paper Mosaic Glaze. It's the same thing as Glossy Accents. It was just in a paper mosaic kit that was on clearance. So I maybe have another kit that I bought on clearance not that long ago, because I'm like, oh, well, it's Glossy Accents, and it was like half the price of a bottle of Glossy Accents because it was on clearance. So adding the Glossy Accents to the eyes kind of make them, you know, look like they're glossy eyes. The other thing is you can bring in, you know, a jelly roll. This is probably the best one that I've found, is the actual jelly roll brand. The other thing is making sure that it's actually working. So I usually have a piece of scratch paper and I make sure that the ink is flowing well. This one feels like it's not flowing very well. Because I said this was my favorite one, it's gonna be a butt. The other thing is to get it to flow a little bit better is if your hands are warm, so it's cold in here, which doesn't really help, but if your hands are warm, kind of rubbing it on your hand. That one's just not going to fly today, is it? Okay, this one works. I don't know why that one's, no, well, it is what it is. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of clean up here where I colored outside the lines a little bit. You could add some highlights. I'm not great at highlights, but you know, I'll try for you. Just a little bit here and there. I like doing a line and some dashes. I think it's kind of fun. Just gives you a little bit of character. Hitting some of those areas that I tried to put a highlight in. I don't know if I got a highlight in there. I think we're good. So kind of like that, nothing too, you know, difficult. And then we will mount that onto a card base. You can either do a side folding or top folding, or side folding, I guess. Sorry, did I say? I think I said side folding, yeah. Side folding base. I have both of them at the ready, so I'm going to do the top folding. And then, let me set that. It's still wet, so. I probably should have put my inside sentiment in there before I got this far, right? Yeah. But we'll make it work. see, sorry you lost a screw. I could do something about you being old and it's your birthday or something on here. Decisions. It could be a get well soon card, because, you know, sorry you lost a screw. What are my other sentiments on that stamp? You're my best invention. I think I miss you. Eek. Life has a habit of throwing a wrench into things. I think that could work on this one. So I'll throw this one on the inside. Maybe. I have to be careful here so it doesn't touch anything that it's not supposed to touch. Okay. I'm gonna peel those off. Throw my sentiment on here. I'm bringing in that VersaFine Onyx black ink again and hoping for the best. Looks like it's all inked up. If you struggle with hand stamping, letting it sit for a little bit will also help that ink absorb into the paper a little bit more. So if that's, you know, one of those things that you struggle with. And I'm just going to come in here and add those last two images that I already have colored and cut out. This way I don't have any spares running around my desk, and it kind of ties in the outside to the inside. So there is our completed card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Watch for another one of the robots coming soon. I hope to get it up maybe next week. I need to do some edits and some voiceovers. I've been slacking immensely. I know. All right. I hope you guys have an amazing one. Keep getting inky. Bye.